Welcome, Cartooniacs! All right, I'm glad to have you back here today for another edition of Dave McDonald's Quarantunes. Yes, we're ready to have some more fun today. And today, pencil fell on the floor. Today we're going to explore my sound effects department. I know you've been dying to see what they look like, so we're going to draw them. Yes, you've been hearing all about them in the background, I know. But today you get to see what they look like. Thank you, sound effects department. It's going to be another silly day, just saying. All right, before we get going, I did want to show you my colored drawing. I really like this one. Of my toucan. Remember yesterday we visited Brazil. Yes, and we drew a toucan and a jumping spider. And the jumping spider's jumping on his bill. Very colorful bird high above the Amazon rainforest, playing with a yo-yo, as I'm sure all the toucans do, right? Living in his hole in the tree that was not carved out by him, but a woodpecker probably who vacated the premises. And they kind of move into those old spaces. Yeah, the toucan, that was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun coloring it. Did you color yours? I hope you did, and I hope you had fun doing it. But today, the sound effects department. Yes, the crazy critters who make all the sounds like we're going to see who they are, what they look like. All right, I have to give it away. We have to visit the big state of Texas. That's right, Texas. The state, we're going to talk about the state mammal and the state bird. Do you know what both of those are? No fair cheating on Google. The state mammal for Texas is the Longhorn Steer. Have you ever seen them? The Longhorn Steer? Well, we're going to draw a longhorn, the head of a longhorn. So the head's going to start with kind of a square shape in the middle. All right, the head, and we're just going to draw the head and the horns, I think. So the head, and then we're going to come down as if it's two straight lines, almost as if we were going to make a triangle, but we're really not. Just a couple of lines that come down like that. And then a big oval shape. Big oval shape. All right, to act as the base. That's kind of the snout. And what we're going to end up doing is putting a dip in the middle of that snout, right, kind of right there. To make that snout, a couple of nostrils. All right, the eyeballs will be right here. Let's make a big goofy eyeball like this, and a goofy eyeball like that. See how they're different shapes? All right, and we'll do our pupils, real tiny pupils, because the horns of the longhorn are the ones that make the sound. The horn, get it, makes the sound of whatever it is we're listening to. All those whistling sounds, right? So we need a straight line that comes out here. Comes out, this is going to be one horn on one side, and we're going to give them, we don't have enough paper to make them really long, but we can do this. Bring it up like this curve it up like that, right? So there's one horn, and on the other, do a little half a circle right there. Bring the other horn out this side, and curved line, right? The same thing, come back to the head. There's the horns. Now, if it were a real longhorn, we would just go up and make little points. They're pointed horns. But because this is a sound effects department, this horn, both of these horns, are the things that make the sounds. So at the end of each horn we have, watch this, we need kind of a rectangle shape. And what this is, and maybe give it a little, bend it just a little bit. At the top of that, go like this. curved line, and then a triangle. It's the old railroad style whistle. So, got the triangle on top, and they look like this. They have like a cutout. It's a cylinder, right? We could even do it like that. We want to see the bottom. And this part would be cut out. And that's where the sound would come out. They would push steam through this cylinder with a real small cutout, and it'll make that screaming whistle sound. And our whistles are going to actually have some life to them. So we're going to personify. Remember, we talked about personification, giving things that aren't human traits. So this whistle is going to be screaming like a real person, making that whistling sound. Okay? So there's one. I mean, we can even put like as if it's made out of, probably made out of metal. All right, one on this side too, right? So curved line or an oval. We can, if we're going to see the bottom, and then do this. Two curved lines, cap it off on the top with a curved line, triangle at the top, and the kind of the mouth of the whistle, and maybe this eye is open. Right? Erase that because that's kind of like a mouth, like the old train whistles. Hope you can see that. I'll move it down here. And of course there'll be sounds coming out. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then of course, what makes that sound? What makes the air? How is air coming through those whistles, you ask? Well, let me tell you. There's almost like a flute. We have little holes here in the horns. Now this is getting real silly. But hey, it's the sound effects department, right? Let's give them a little hair here on top. Now what we have here, the little horns must be hollow, and there's different sounds you can get by blowing through these different holes, kind of like a flute or a clarinet. Let's do this. Let's put the state bird of Texas is the mockingbird. And here's what's cool. The mockingbird can make sounds of other birds. It mocks their calls or their songs. So in this case, it's pretty handy. This bird can make all different sounds by blowing through the holes. So it's perfect that it's a mockingbird, right? Let's do this though. I think I want to, let's tilt him over a little bit more. So we talked about birds. Every time we draw a bird, we kind of draw a half a circle, right? Right, like that. And then we'll put the head like that. Little triangle at the end if we want for the feather or the tail feathers. And then what we're going to do is put the beak of the bird as if it's blowing through the hole in the horn to make that noise. Right? And they're blowing so hard that their eyes are closed. Beak. That's pretty funny. Okay, maybe we put one over here. Half a circle, and a real circle for the head, triangle for the beak. Right. Put the little wings on there. And the beak and the chubby cheeks because they're blowing through. So they blow through the holes, different holes in the horns, and it comes up through the whistle and makes the different sound effects. Did you know that's how we did it here? Yeah, so if you blow here, maybe it makes that sound. Maybe if you blow through this hole, duck call, duck call. Ducks are coming. Ducks are in the air. All right. Sound effects department. The sound effect department. So that's pretty silly. We've got a long... I can't believe I'm actually drawing this as a sound effects department. Yep, a Longhorn Steer, Texas state mammal, large mammal, and the Texas state bird, the Mockingbird, helping out with those sounds. Okay, now we're going to start to ink our wacky drawing here. All right, starting with these whistles. Let me move my paper over. Okay, so we got a lot of inking to do today, don't we? Have you ever heard one of these train whistles? Boy, are they loud. I want to tell you. Well, they had to be loud, obviously, right? Because they would be used to signal that a train is coming, and you'd want to hear it from, boy, maybe a couple miles away, so you could get off the tracks or get clear of them, right? You don't want to be anywhere near railroad tracks at any time. But this would just warn you, hey, there's a train coming. Get out of the way. Okay, there we go. All right, bird number one. Just very simply triangle. Blowing through that funny little hole in the horn. There's another one here. Just perched atop that horn. Look at this expression. That Longhorn Steer's like, wait a minute. They're using me to make all these wacky sounds? What do I get out of this? Except a weird feeling. A couple feet there, another hole there. The horn is behind the bird. Comes in to side of the head there. Little puffy tuft of hair at the top of our longhorn. And let's see. Let's continue on. This bird over here. I'm just putting these little half circles underneath for the feet. It's perched there on top. Okay, triangle for the beak. A curved line for the cheek, right? And yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. We've talked about that before, remember? We all have different styles. Every one of our drawings are going to look a little bit different, and that's okay. They do not have to look exactly like this. A little fur going down towards the snout. All right, the horn going up, coming down. You could even put these little hash marks on the bottom to indicate it is a round horn, so just gives it like a 3D or a shadow effect. All right, let's go up here, triangle for the top of that whistle. How's your whistles coming? Some people can whistle with their mouth, right? Like that. Let's color the end. How many different whistle sounds can you make? I remember spending summers trying to create all different kinds of whistle sounds. Kind where you'd put your fingers in your mouth and you like that. Only I did discover that practicing whistling was not something that the rest of the family looked kindly upon. they weren't as amused as I was with all the whistling. Because it can get on people's nerves, I think. That's what they were trying to tell me. Some more shading, little hash marks there, right? Our bird. Okay, let's see. That looks pretty cool. Maybe under here we do a little shading as well, like the other side. All right, let's see now. Coming back down here. The two wacky eyeball shapes. A couple of lines that go across there. Now the snout of our character here. Where's my, let's do this. Again, it's an oval, but I put a little dip in the middle there. Around. Right. There we go. Snout. Nostrils. Two nostrils. Maybe how about this? He's like, ooh, what is that sound? He looks very confused about what's going on. Oh, and this is fun, what we can do. So the sound's coming out. Let's do this. We've got all the air coming out. So two straight lines. Watch this. You can do 2 or 3. And then at the end of that, go ahead and put a couple of curved lines, like 1, 2, and then come back on the straight line. And we're just going to make a big puffy cloud, as if that air is coming out to make the noise. Right? Same thing over here, watch. Some straight lines. Put 3 over here. And then a couple of curved lines. Okay. And then curved lines to create like a puff, like a whistle, like the steam's coming out. Of course, that's what they were initially, steam whistles, right? So these birds are blowing, creating all those sound effects for Dave McDonald's Quarantunes. Good thing for the Texas state mammal and the Texas state bird, right? The Mockingbird. So now I have sound effects to go with my cartooning. I wonder if this is how they made their sound effects for the cartoons I watched on Saturday mornings. Do you think that's possible? Is this how they would have done it? Do you think the Longhorn Steer would put up with this? Not for long, I'm not thinking. They're a big animal, and I don't think they would take kindly to being used as a whistle factory. That's what it basically is, isn't it? Looks like a whistle factory. All these. Brush off those brooms here, broom it off, sweep it off, so we can see our sound effects department. And you can go back in and touch it up. If you see any places where it needs, I don't see anything really that needs to be attended. Now this would be fun to color. This is going to be a fun one to color as well. Again, the Longhorn Steer. So let's do this. Here's our official sticker. Put that right there in the middle. Corny Creek Farms sound effects department, right? Ta-da! With the duck there, right? Hear the ducks going over? We had lots of fun today creating our sound effects department, didn't we? I'd say so. Corny Creek Farms sound effects department, the Texas Longhorn Steer, and the Texas state bird, the Mockingbird. I hope you had fun today drawing with me, and I hope to see you next time. Stop back in, all right? But until next time, go ahead, take care of one another, be well, stay safe, and have a good day. All right? Bye-bye.